couple weeks ago, OpenAI released an update to ChatGPT, which is going to change selling products online forever. And while it's definitely a little scary, it also means that if you know how to use it, you can make best-selling t-shirt designs easier than ever before. So today, I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. It works using the new ChatGPT 4o model. It's able to create professional quality images and designs all from a prompt. I'm gonna show you not only how to generate great designs, but also how to remix them into all kinds of styles. Now, before we go any further, I honestly do feel like it's my job to warn you that this tool is really unlike anything we've seen before. It really enables you to recreate designs that are working with hardly any effort, and that's exactly why it's dangerous. People have always been able to steal, especially if they're creative enough, and tools like this just make it a lot easier. Just remember that if you want to have a successful long-term business, you have to make and design products that are unique. What you're about to see absolutely makes it a lot easier to infringe on copyright and trademarks, but it also makes it a lot easier to make great, unique t-shirt designs without stealing. And honestly, that's the aim. Not just so you stay out of trouble, but also to grow an ethical business. That said, the first thing we need to do is find products that are currently selling really well so that we can make designs targeting that niche. Now, there's a lot of ways to do this, but since most people choose to sell on Amazon or Etsy, it's the perfect place to start since all the sales data is public and we can see what's working. So we can start by searching a platform like Etsy for something like plant shirts. And what this is going to do is bring up a bunch of t-shirt listings from all sorts of shops. Some of these shops are newer and have just started selling, and some of them are long-time, gigantic best-selling shops. What we're looking for is individual listings that have performed better than the other listings for that shop. So not even necessarily the best-selling listings out of this whole page of results, but instead listings that are doing well based on the shop that they're posted in. This is a great example where it just shows some ghosts that are doing gardening, and there's definitely interest in this listing. So you can see over 55 reviews, and at about 8 to 10 sales per review, this listing has sold hundreds of times. But I want to see how this listing has performed compared to the other listings in the shop. So I can click through to visit the shop, and I could go through and look at each listing and see how it compares. Now, that might take a while since they have almost 400 listings. So to do this a little faster, I could also use a tool like Listing View. You can plug any shop name in. I just plugged in the name of this shop for an example. And we want to scroll down and check how that ghost listing is performing. So you can see it right here. And what this tells us is it's performing 8 times better than the average listing in this shop. I can also see it's done over 3,000 sales. And just for future reference, all of these other listings are top performers as well, which can help you get better inspiration. Either way, we now know that this listing is a good one. So we can use the idea and the niche to come up with our own product. And there's 3 different ways that we can prompt ChatGPT to generate designs. The first way is to simply write our own prompt. So if you look at this image, try and figure out exactly what's going on, the art style, and all the little details that you want to bring over into your own design. Then you come over into ChatGPT and write out a prompt that matches all of those details. Now, since I'm terrible at typing under pressure, I already wrote out this prompt, and you can pause and read it if you'd like, but you just want to describe everything in detail and then press submit. This is the safest way to create unique graphics based on an idea because you're never going to get an exact replica. It's usually going to look good, but it's always going to be in a completely different style. So it gave us 2 examples here, and you can already start to see the type of quality that we're able to get with this new model. The second prompting option is to include a screenshot of the reference design in the prompt. So I'm just going to create a new chat with the exact same prompt, and then I'm going to include a screenshot of the reference design in the prompt. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow chat to reference the attached image. I'm also going to tell it to make it a slightly wider aspect ratio, and let's see what it can do. The only downside to using this model is it does take a little bit longer, but when you compare it to some of the other models, the quality and detail is so much better that it's usually worth waiting. And there you go. This is absolutely insane. You can see the detail and the style. Everything is very similar, but just slightly different from the original reference image. And honestly, maybe the ghosts are a little bit cuter in my version than the original. But regardless, despite how good this image is, you really can't sell this. we need to make something that's a lot more unique, but luckily ChatGPT can help us do that. So what I can do is just prompt it by saying, how can I make this graphic more unique from the original? If I submit that, this is what ChatGPT has always been great at, is spitting out a bunch of text with ideas and helping you iterate through basically a bunch of ideas. And honestly, some of these ideas aren't that bad. For example, we could give the characters some outfit upgrades, we could add a pet, or we could even change some of the plants in the image. So I'm just gonna say, let's give one ghost a bucket hat, let's give another sunglasses, and let's change some of the plants to mushrooms and mean peppers with teeth. So I gave it a lot of details here, and let's see what kind of design it can spit back out. And there you have it. You can see we got a bucket hat, we got our sunglasses, we got the mushrooms, and even the pepper with teeth. Absolutely insane from just a prompt and like 2 minutes. Last thing I'll say is, can you put it on a transparent background? And that way it'll actually look good when we put it on a t-shirt. Now, if you're gonna go with this method where you're including a screenshot of a reference image, you have to be willing to go through multiple iterations to make your designs much more unique from the original. It's super important to remix and add ideas so that you're not making direct copies. But that said, the third type of prompting you can do is definitely my favorite, and it's something I call reverse prompting. Instead of telling ChatGPT to make a new image based on an existing one, in a new chat box, upload the image of a reference design and ask it, how would you write a prompt for creating this type of graphic? And then just hit submit. This is going to get you a prompt that it thinks it can use to generate this type of image. So all I'm going to do is copy this prompt, and in a new chat window, we'll just paste it in and hit submit. Again, when you do this in a new chat window, it's not going to reference the original design, which will mean your image will be much more unique. Really, the power of this new ChatGPT model is its conversational style image generating. Unless I'm the one coming up with ideas, I can ask Chat for ideas on how to make my graphics more unique. It'll give me the ideas, and then I can go and implement them. And on top of that, even outside of just image graphics, I've also been able to make text designs. I've covered how well these sell a lot, but in listing view, I just typed in plant shirt so you can see which ones have the top most amount of sales on pretty much all of Etsy. And you can see that a lot of the top designs have text in them, or they're just text designs. These are much easier than a graphic to make manually, but if you've still never done it, there is a learning curve. And you guessed it, it's the exact same process as before, where you just want to prompt ChatGPT with references for the style that you're going for and the actual subject of the image. It will do its magic, and then you can always go back and revise it until it looks good. Now, personally, I still think you're better off learning how to manually make text designs in a platform like Canva or Figma, but if you're having a really difficult time, this is a super easy way to get started. And yeah, from what I've seen, those are the 3 ways to prompt Chat to generate designs. You can write your own prompts, you can include a reference image, and it's going to give you a very similar style that you'll need to remix, or you can use the reverse prompting method. And of course, for any of those options, you can go back and revise your graphics to get the best ones possible. Those are the methods. So instead of just sitting here and watching me generate a bunch of designs, here's a little montage of the designs that I've been able to make and the prompts that I used to do it. I found this bookworm graphic, and so I reverse prompted it and ended up getting a really solid but also very unique version. If you've shopped for t-shirts online, you've probably seen this Goosebumps design that sells all the time and brings in thousands of dollars. So instead of just copying it directly, I reverse engineered it into a much more unique Halloween-based version. This burning skull design is really cool in my opinion, so I created another version. It's still a bit too close to the original though. I also found this dumpster fire design that's super popular, so we had Chat recreate it, also with a brand new saying that it came up with. I like these retro style coffee designs, so I had Chat reimagine him thinking, running, and even drinking a cup of coffee. And just to speed run through a few more, I made this gnome who's reading next to some coffee. I made this checkered heart design, and then I reworked it into a cheetah print heart design based on the original. And one that I think captures the Etsy vibe almost perfect is this ghost walking its dog. I also threw in a few text designs like this whiskey and tequila themed design and this dog themed t-shirt. And I also used it to make this chrome metal style word art, which I thought looks really cool. As I've been using this more, I'm personally blown away. But if that's not cool enough, you can take every idea that you have and turn it into the same thing, but in a completely different style. We can turn that Goosebumps design into something completely different as well. I think that this just goes to show that you're no longer limited by your graphic design skill level. You're not even limited by the image generator. You're only limited by your own imagination and ability to write a prompt. The better you get at writing prompts, the better your images are going to be. But now that you know how to make the images, let me quickly run through how to actually go about using them so that they look good on a t-shirt. You might have noticed that even though the designs look really good when they're small, the more you zoom in, the blurrier they get. And since we're planning to put them on t-shirts, we need bigger designs. We can make the images that ChatGPT gives us bigger using a process called upscaling. You can make a Google search for image upscalers and use any tool that you want. But for this example, I'm just gonna copy my design and bring it into this tool, which is called Recraft AI, which I've just recently been a fan of. Now, when you select your image, you get a bunch of tool options. For example, you can upscale and you can even vectorize your images right inside of Recraft. If your image has simple lines and only a few colors like mine does, then we can use the vectorize tool. Otherwise, if it's a more complex image and it maybe doesn't have a clear background, then you'll want to use the crisp upscale. Either way, it only takes a few seconds, and when it's done, if I just zoom into some of the lines here, you can see that no matter how close I get, the lines are always super sharp and really crisp. This means that no matter how big we make the design, it's always going to look good, especially on our t-shirt. And as a side note, when you vectorize a graphic, it also lets you do things like change the colors in your design, which you're not able to do before. So this can be super useful depending on the color of product or t-shirt that you want to sell your designs on. I'm gonna throw some of the designs that we've made on t-shirts so that you can see what they actually look like and how good they are. As you can see from this video, if you actually want to be successful with a t-shirt business, things have changed. Success is no longer about how skilled you are at making designs. It's about how good you are at doing product research and using the tools that you have at your disposal to make designs that people want. I think in this new AI era, the people that win are going to do two things really well. They're going to be excellent at reading data and trends so that they're actually making designs that people are looking for and want to buy. Now that you can make professional quality designs in just a few minutes, it's all about how quickly you identify trends in the market and then make and post products for sale that satisfy that need. Now, a little self-promo here, but that's exactly what we've been working on doing at Listing View. You're able to search and sort through millions of best-selling Etsy listings to figure out exactly what's selling right now and what's working in specific niches. When you enter a search, it's going to sift through millions of Etsy listings to find the ones that are selling the best that match that keyword. This means instead of having to go through Etsy and click on every single listing, you can just see exactly what's selling the best, all from your dashboard. And we did this so that you can quickly identify which listings are performing the best, which ones are trending, and although there's just a couple features that we're still working on adding, this without a doubt makes it easier to find best sellers. So when you find a listing that looks interesting to you and you analyze its shop, you'll be able to see how well that listing performs compared to all the others, as well as get inspiration and ideas for other types of products that you can make and post for sale in your shop. This is just the beginning, and we've got a ton of features that we're cooking up, but I just thought I'd mention it since it does make finding best-selling products easier than before. Plus, when the plugin comes out, it's gonna be absolutely insane. That said, the second thing that successful t-shirt business owners are going to do is post a lot of listings. Real quick, again, in Listing View, I just switched over to the Shops tab, and you can see that the top selling shops, the shops that have hundreds of thousands and over millions of sales on Etsy, all have hundreds, if not thousands of listings posted for sale in their shop, and they regularly post new listings for sale. The way that they get a lot of listings posted for sale is by doing market research to see what types of products are selling in each niche, and then making a lot of designs for each of those ideas. Personally, I always do this where I batch my designs. This means I make several variations or designs targeting the same niche. If I'm making ghost gardening designs, I'm not just gonna make one and hope it sells. I'm gonna make several variations and see which one works. Plus, not only creating the designs, but also creating the products has never been easier. When you do batch your products, you can use other tools like Prelist's Product Uploader, where you can just drag in all of your t-shirt designs, press upload, and it will put all of those designs onto t-shirts in your Printify account ready to post for sale. Having great systems and automation like this is how you post hundreds and even thousands of designs in your shop without spending hours a day posting every single product. But I'll save that for some other videos. Now, if you want a higher level overview of how print on demand works and sort of a guide, I recommend checking out this video next. So make sure you're subscribed, and I'll see you over there.